Do we know anything about Jesus at all? He's a figure of mystery. Over the last century, more books have been written about him than almost any other historical figure. He's still the subject of countless TV documentaries, magazine articles, novels and movies. And yet we don't have a lot of certain information about him, mainly because he lived a short life in a pretty unfashionable place a very long time ago. Some people even claim he may not have existed at all. So can you know anything? Well, yes you can. There are several lines of evidence which make us convinced that Jesus truly did live, and here we'll outline just 3 of them. First, his impact on history has been staggering. In culture after culture, Christianity has spread across the world in a way that no other religion ever has. Even now, somewhere between 1/4 and 1/3 of all the human beings on earth claim to follow him. Down through history, his teaching has impacted people and societies more deeply than any other philosopher or teacher ever. Not bad for somebody who never wrote a book, never travelled outside his own country, and died with only 120 fearful followers to his name. And yet, within 3 centuries, his little Jewish band of followers had grown into the most influential faith of the Roman Empire. So big, in fact, that the Emperor Constantine gave in and made it the official religion of the empire, an empire which had been trying to stamp it out for 300 years. And still today, the growth of Christianity goes on. A recent headline in the Washington Post proclaimed, "Think Christianity is dying? No, Christianity is shifting dramatically. In Europe and North America, churches may not be doing well. In the rest of the world, from the most sophisticated cultures of Southeast Asia to the poorest parts of Africa and Latin America, the followers of Jesus are growing like wildfire. By 2050, there will be 3 billion Christians in the world. Just to compare, that's 1.5 times the number of Muslims. Now it seems pretty incredible that all of this should be based on a vague myth about somebody who never existed. There was a real Jesus, all right, and the impact he made on people galvanised them into changing the entire planet. Something happened after his death which turned them into world beaters. We'll talk about that in a future week. But second, when you read the Gospels, you're reading stuff that could not be invented. Just read a couple of chapters and you'll see Jesus had a more original mind, a more creative imagination than anybody who appeared in Jewish civilization since the days of the great prophets. And they lived several hundred years before his birth. The teaching of Jesus, his style, stories and actions are completely unique. If some novelist made up all this stuff about a fictional character, that writer would be far greater than Jesus himself. And third, although you wouldn't expect somebody from a humble Middle Eastern background to feature in the histories of his day, Jesus does pop up in the writings of the greatest Jewish historian, Josephus, and the greatest Roman historian, Tacitus. He's mentioned in a few other places too. And then the evidence of archaeology, inscriptions, and even graffiti on Roman walls shows clearly that Jesus was a real person. The question is, why do so many people try to argue he's just an imaginary character? What do you think they might be scared of?